Good evening. We're live. I hope we are, right? Good evening if you're here. Good evening. Good afternoon if you're around somewhere else. Good morning if you're somewhere else yet. Today we're going to be here hosting the first legend takeover. That is Carli, Lloyd, two-time FIFA Women's World Cup champion, two-time Olympic champion, two-time best player in the world. She's going to be here with us in 1 second. I'm Bruno Sassi. I'm going to be hosting you. If you give me just 1 second, then I'm going to call her up here. Let's get Carli to join us. There she is.
Waiting for Carli Lloyd. Good sign. There she comes, connecting.
Hey there.
And we're there. We're through. How are you, Carli?
Yeah, good. How about you?
I'm all right. Can you hear me loud and clear?
All good.
Excellent. How's life been? You're in New Jersey, right?
Yes. Yeah, life is life is definitely a little bit different these days.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think obviously there's some really sad times going on, and many people, if not everybody in some capacity, has been affected by all of this. I don't think we've really had this big of a global pandemic or something that has really affected everybody on so many different levels. So
In a long
trying to
time,
just trying to find a little silver lining and make the most of it. I haven't had this much time to really not do much in quite some time. So it's nice to
yeah.
kind of pause life a little.
Yeah, that's the only upside of it all, as you say, very sad times. By the way, I wanted to thank you on behalf of FIFA for having collaborated with our campaign with the WHO. And I think it's important that everyone hears about it the whole time, but it's good that people really have a clear consciousness of what is it that is important in a moment like this, not for each of us, but for the whole community. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Listen, I wanted to know, it affects every one of us, some of us in most horrible ways, on a day-to-day basis. What's your day-to-day like? What's quarantine training, if there's any?
At the moment, I don't set an alarm to wake up,
Uh,
so I'm getting plenty of good quality sleep. I am fortunate enough to my coach and mentor James, who I've been working with for the last 17 years or so, has his own
mhm.
facility, so I'm able to go in there and train. So I really haven't been um, stuck with not really having a place to be able to go. So I do that, and then I run on my own outside, whether it's on the track or whatnot. And then I have a gym in our basement. So I have really all that I need. The only
Mhm.
thing that I don't have is training with a team and
Yeah, sure.
playing. But I'm enjoying kind of this time to just focus solely on training, and then I spend time with my husband. I'm home. I've been cooking a lot, which is really nice. And that's about it. Just some home projects.
Talking about home, I don't know if you've heard that we have this Woke Up at Home campaign that we've been running. Because everyone is at home and because you don't have live football, of course, we give Twitter users the chance to vote for the match that they prefer to watch from previous Women's World Cups and Men's World Cups as well. They choose whatever match they want to watch, and for free, no subscription, nothing. You just go on the YouTube channel, you watch it. We're doing this 4 days a week. Just yesterday, final of the 1999 FIFA Women's World Cup. Even like some of the players that played in that game, they would go on to tell us that they had never watched that game again. Have you? How much do you like going back to the archive whenever it's on, whenever you turn on the TV? How much do you like watching past games? How important is it for anyone who plays football on a professional basis like you do?
Yeah, I think it's, I use my games and my past games. I don't dig too far into the archives, but my most recent games I usually watch and figure out ways that I could have gotten better or done
Uh,
things a little bit better, decision making. But during this time, we've had a lot of time and we've had a lot of matches that have been replayed.
uh-huh.
I did just watch the 2015 World Cup final
Did
when
you
that was
really?
on here. And yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to relive it, 4 or 5 years later. It was awesome. It was a great moment with my teammates. I missed out on the '99 World Cup. match. I wanted to watch that, so hopefully it's still up that I can watch that. But I was just a little girl, so I definitely want to rewatch that and and just see the style and the way they played. So it's fun. It's good to watch back some games.
And when you watch yourself, is there anything weird about the experience? Like, does it really feel like just watching a football game, or what it brings back is just so different that you cannot really just watch it as a spectator?
Yeah, I mean, I think as an athlete, there's often many things that, you don't remember. You're just kind of in the flow, in that state of playing, and in big moments like that, you tend to kind of not dwell on past accomplishments because, for me, I want to keep continuing to get better every single day, and every single major tournament. So you don't really want to be stuck in that past, but in a time like this, to be able to rewatch certain matches, it's pretty cool. Really definitely gives me a different perspective when I was playing to, fast forward 4 or 5 years later to be able to rewatch it again. It's it's cool.
It's funny you should say that. You should mention the final because just today we got the result from this Twitter poll in which users chose the semifinal, US Germany, over the US Japan final. Well, the good news is that you scored in both. You're fine. You're going to be the highlight reel anyway. But how much? I mean, of course, the Japan game we've watched the highlights a gazillion times. Semifinal. Talk me through a bit that game. You scored the opener, the 1-0 for the US. You ended up winning 2-0. Right after Celia Sausage had missed a penalty, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that.
What are the memories as soon as we talk about that game?
That match, I actually remember that match very vividly. Germany had been playing very well up until that game. They were a top contender for sure, and Celia was scoring goals and doing well. And I remember the stadium, the venue. It was an indoor stadium in Montreal, and it was the most electrifying crowd. It was so incredibly loud in there. It was probably one of my top favorite moments of playing in front of a crowd because everything was just indoors and it was so loud and everybody was cheering. And I remember when we got a PK called against us. Obviously, it was a very stressful moment. Julie was devastated. I quickly told her, I'm like, you got to move on. You got to, you can't dwell on this. But I was very confident because we had Hope Solo in goal, number one. And she had some antics going on before the PK. And it was a big moment, And when Celia stepped up and missed it, I remember in that instance telling myself, we're going to win this game. And it was like we got this new momentum as a team. And it was incredible because we then got a PK, which some may say it was outside of the box, but we didn't have VAR back then.
Not at that time.
For me, I missed a PK in the 2011 World Cup final, and it was devastating. And I said to myself, I never want to let that moment define my career and define who I am. I felt like I let my team down, my country down. So from that point on, I made sure that, in a big, big moment when my team needed me, I was going to put a PK away. I was never going to let that happen. Surely I stepped up. It was laser focus. There's photos of me solely focused on the ball, concentrating on the ball. And as soon as I went up to kick it, I knew it was going in. And in that moment, I knew that we were going to win the game. But I knew that it wasn't going to be easy as well. We were going at them. We were, feeling really good as a team. Kelly O'Hara comes onto the field, and I remember getting this ball and out wide on the left side and dribbling and then crossing a ball into her, and she puts it away. And I just knew, this was our moment. As soon as they missed the PK in the beginning, this was our game to seal up. So it was a really exciting game.
Would you have voted for it over the final? That's unfair,
right? It was just different. It's one of those matches where it's stressful because you want to get into the final. that's the key. And we had to win. If we didn't win, we would go home.
Mhm.
But then, once we got into the final, I felt there was a sense of relief, and less pressure for us because we just had that momentum. So it
Gotcha.
was just different. I mean, the final was the final. It was unlike any other final I've ever been a part of. It was exciting. But the Germany game was, it had a lot of moments in there that were really exciting.
And by the way, you scored a hat trick for anyone who's not tracking it, right?
Yeah.
It's a humble to mention. We have questions. We have loads of questions. We gathered quite a few during the week leading up to today. Now we're starting to get quite a few. I have my virtual assistant remotely sending them through. Let me read a couple. We're talking about staying at home, doing stuff at home because we're all self-quarantined, like a good portion of the world is in quarantine. I'll read one. We got it through Twitter from LS Specs. Hey, Carli, can you start a virtual U.S. women's national team dance-off to bring us all some joy while we self-quarantine? No one will be able to beat the indomitable Crystal Dunn, but it will still be fun to watch the teammates try. Is that so?
was
Is
actually
that clear cut?
I was actually going to just say that I'm probably the last person you want to reach out to start a dance off. I think Crystal Dunn should do a daily dance off to get everybody going during their day. But yeah, that would be pretty funny.
Challenge is on. Along the same lines, Sophie from on Twitter as well. If you were stuck in quarantine with 3 U.S. women's national team teammates, former or current, who would they be? Like off the top of your head. And why? I am.
Why? Well, I would probably have to say Hope. I would do because she's a country girl. She's lived in the countryside. She kind of can survive, and I think she may even do some hunting with her husband. So she's an outdoorsy type person. Probably have to say maybe Crystal for some laughs and some dance-offs, maybe.
Which
Maybe
would
even
lose.
Heather Mitts. Yeah, maybe even Heather Mitts as well. So yeah, it would be definitely would be interesting.
While at home, are you reading any books currently, right now?
I am. I'm reading a few books. I've
Hmm?
got book David Goggins' book, which is really really good, motivational. Um, and I'm reading another book at the moment just on mentality. So I'm kind of flip-flopping, which haven't been doing a good job of reading. I got to get back on the swing of things. I've been binge watching on some shows, so I'm gonna mix it up soon.
Which shows, if I'm asking?
I currently just watched Tiger King, which
Hmm.
was pretty
Like
pretty
everyone else.
crazy. I'm catching up
Just
on
started, don't say
watching,
anything.
yeah, watching Ozark right now at the moment. It's a good show.
So am I.
But there's some really good shows on, so I'll probably get to many more of those soon enough.
The book question was a segue, really, because we have quite a few people live right now, but also received a few. Carly, I love your book. Will you release an extended version of it, including your career from 16 to 21? Assuming that 21 is the end of your career. Tell us a bit about like process of putting out a book, and then what are the plans with it going forward?
The process of writing a book is crazy. It was something I never imagined ever doing, and it was pretty tough process. It was about a year long process. There's lots of deadlines. There's lots of editing. There's lots of digging into my memory and trying to remember different things. Thankfully, I saved some things so I could kind of go back and look through some different journal entries and figure out how I was feeling at the time. But it was definitely an incredible experience. My co-author Wayne Coffey did an amazing job of really telling my story in my words, and it was great to be able to collaborate with him and do this. I mean, we got to know each other very well on a very personal level. There was a lot of things that I had to share with him that I'm not used to sharing with many people. So it was a really amazing process. And I think that, when I wrote my book, I think people gained a different perspective of me. I think people view me as someone who maybe I'm not really. They see me kind of focused on the field, and I'm all business, and I've got goals of mine. But off the field, I'm very loving and caring, and behind this shield that they put up on the field, I'm a bit of a softie. So it was good to be able to get that story out, and who knows, maybe there'll be another book to follow up with the latter end of my career. It would be awesome to be able to write another one.
I'm just writing here like the corner of my eye. Oh yeah, your book is so good. It got me into reading for the first time. Read it in 2 days. Then a couple saying, you know what, you should make a movie out of it. How's that?
Movie would be cool too. I think I definitely have a unique story. Someone who grew up in a really small town in New Jersey, and had a lot of talent, but talent only gets you so far. And then I happened to meet a coach and mentor who basically changed my life. James is someone who's an unbelievable guru, and we've kind of been on this journey together. So I think there's not too many stories like ours. And he actually predicted that we would write a book. And he has predicted that, our story would make for a good movie. So we'll see. To be determined.
Got it right the first time. Oh, I'm going through books. Serious. Another question here from Instagram, Fußballdacht. Do you like music? If so, which song is your favorite? What have you been listening to? Have you been here lately?
I do like music. I'm kind of all over the place with things that I like to listen to, anywhere from Celine Dion to Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Drake. I kind of like it all. So I really just put on some mixes, and whatever I like, I hit and put into my playlist and save them on my Spotify.
How's the dynamic within the team? Like, who presses play on Spotify when you go out in the locker room? Like, what's the dynamic when it comes to music, like when traveling around?
Oh, that's all Crystal done. Yeah, she's full effect with the playlists, her dance routine, everything. I mean, some of the songs, I'm a bit older than most of these people in the locker room. Some of the songs, I have no idea what these songs are. So I can't say that I partake in that, but it's been interesting to kind of see the locker room dynamics as each year has gone on, and the older I've gotten. Now we've got a lot of younger players on the team, so it's definitely a different mix of music.
Yeah, that's curious. Yet another way of just seeing one's own career progressing from being the youngster that was put in play in the CDs to not getting what is on Spotify today.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions along the same lines. I'm going to kind of condense them into your favorite World Cup moment in 2019. Like, tell me a bit about the experience last year. And I would like to know, I'd like to know about the experience in 2019 for women's football in general. How much did it mean beyond a single great tournament? What does it mean as a step change for women's football going forward?
Yeah, I think, 2019 was really exciting. The game has gotten so much better from my first World Cup in 2007, and then, my fourth World Cup in 2019. It's a credit to how far the women's game has come, because there's definitely more awareness about it. There's more people tuning in for it, but I still think that we've got a long way to go. I think that here in America, we have the support, but there's other countries that don't really have the resources, the funds, and the support that they should. And I think when we look at some teams like, the Netherlands, Spain, many other teams during this past World Cup, they're doing well because they're being invested into. They've got leagues back home, and it's great to see, because if you put the investment in, you see what happens. These teams do much better. So it's really, really good to see. I hope that it continues to keep, getting better and better, but, we still have a long ways to go with a lot of other countries. But 2019, it was great to be able to win back to back with my teammates and be a part of that. It was, definitely special. France did an amazing job of putting on the World Cup, and it was pretty decent amount of travel and whatnot, but it was great to be able to see different parts of France and enjoyed it.
I mean, for the US, I think it's, as you well mentioned, it's less of a factor than it is in several different places in the world. Even culturally, like how many people didn't have a problem tuning in. Did you talk to foreign, well, colleagues of yours, teammates, club teammates, or that you played against, about how much of a difference 2019 made for them?
Yeah, definitely. There's leagues all across the world that are, really investing in their women's teams, and you can tell, places like Spain, like I said before, and even Italy. Italy did well as well. Even some of the CONCACAF teams, definitely getting better. So it's interesting to kind of talk with other players. But still, the gap is still there, and we need to continue to invest and continue to make things better. So hopefully it just, keeps on climbing and getting better and better.
Yeah, because there's a long way to go, and we all know it. But I think it was quite a landmark, quite a a landmark in the history of women's football. What happened last year, and we have a lot of people asking about how is it that it ranks among your greatest achievements. I just mentioned at the beginning, like you, two-time world champion, two-time Olympic champion, scored goals in all these finals, two-time best player of the year. Of all of these, is there one? Can you encapsulate one where you really thought, okay, this is the top of the world, I got this?
One tournament, you're saying, or
One moment, it can be one
moment?
specific game, one evening when you received the trophy or whatever.
Um, I think 2012 Olympics for me was a big turning point.
Yeah,
And not just because we won gold or whatnot, but I had been benched right before that, and I thought that my career was going to be over, and
really.
I wasn't gonna play on the team. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I went home right before I left for London, and I trained about 6 hours a day for about 10 days, and my legs hurt, and I was tired. I was upset, but I just grinded through it, and I told myself, along with James helping me as well, that I've got to be ready for my moment. I've got to be ready in any situation. Could be the first game, could be the third game, could be whenever, but I had to be ready to seize that opportunity. And I think getting that moment in the first game against France, 16 minutes in, and then never leaving the field after that, and then winning gold, it really gave me the belief that I could go on to become the best player in the world. James had been telling me that he believes that I can be. My goal was to strive for that
Uh,
individually. And it was a big turning point for me because I really believe that I could play amongst these players and do well. And so the belief in that became even stronger. And then after I came home, the next big thing was 2015 World Cup, and I was just so ready for it. So that was a big moment for me to be able to get through that adversity and persevere through that.
It is so interesting to hear top athletes like you talking about this because, as you said in the beginning, the talent has always been there, right? You never had a doubt that you had talent, nor had anyone around you. But there needs to be a click, right? Which in your case was just to give that boost of self-confidence that, yeah, I can be a starter, I can go all the way through to winning goal.
Yeah, I think, players like myself and some of the male players around the world and other female players around the world, I mean, just because we are who we are and we're at the level that we're at, you still come into some doubts and self-belief every now and again. So I think when you're able to really believe wholeheartedly in yourself, no matter
Mm.
what the media is saying, no matter what coaches are saying, no matter what players are saying, if you really, really believe, you can achieve anything. And I think that's the key. Everybody's kind of got that talent, but mentality wise, you need to really be strong, and you've got to believe in yourself. So yeah, I think the belief in myself over the years has gotten stronger and stronger, and it tends to be the moments where I play my best, when I'm believing and when I'm not caring about anyone else, or, caring about the opinions of what coaches think of me and media, etc. And just having that belief in myself.
Is that the answer to the Mrs. Clutch question? As in, okay, how do you manage to perform at your very, very, very peak when it matters the most? That's it. It's
That's
after having turned the clock.
I think that's just kind of who I've been throughout my life. You know, I've been a kid who has loved soccer, but I've loved all sports. And I'll pick up a basketball or a football, and if I can't do it right away, I don't shy away from it, and I don't quit, and I don't say to myself, okay, I'm never playing this sport again. I invite the challenge, and it may take me a couple tries to throw that spiral, but eventually I'm going to get it. So I've always been wired like that, and I think the bigger the occasion, the bigger I rise to the challenge. That's just who I've been, and I love to have those pressure type situations. But I think it also comes with being able to be prepared and being able to mentally be a lot stronger than everybody else. And like I said, the belief in yourself, but also not comparing yourself and not competing against any other player. You know, when we played the World Cup in 2015 against Japan, yeah, we were playing Japan, but I couldn't tell you who was on the field because it wasn't about Japan. It was just about competing against my previous performance, which was against Germany. So I love those moments. I love when, you know, people tell me I can't do something or I'm not good enough. It makes me dig extra deep and have that motivation to rise. So I love it.
People are liking it. I'm just reading through. I'm smiling here because it's like Jersey Girl. It's a Jersey thing. You're the only player. I wake up at 3 a.m. to watch. Many you're a great inspiration for them. A lot of users are saying that. Megan asks, why did you start playing football in the first place? You just mentioned interest in several different sports. We know that in America it's not necessarily the most popular. Well, I'm saying football, soccer is not necessarily the most popular sport. Why soccer? How did it come about?
You know, there was just something about soccer. I loved the challenge. Like every game was a different game. No game was ever alike. There were different opponents, same rules, same fields, you know,
Hmm.
same ball. But at the end of the day, you know, it was different challenges that posed. You know, some teams were physical, some teams were more skillful. I could attack, but I could also, you know, defend and tackle people. So I love the game because it just brought so many different areas of the game, being creative, being physical, scoring goals. Of course, I love scoring goals. I prefer to be an attacking player versus more of a defensive player. So it was just kind of the love of all that, of just, you know, having that you know, just being stimulated in training sessions. You know, I loved playing basketball. I played basketball up until my junior year of high school, and then I
Hmm.
stopped because soccer got busy or football got busy. Um, but I hated basketball practices. Like,
Really?
I hated it. I just wanted to play games. So, you know, for me, that's how I kind of knew that, you know, I enjoyed soccer practices. I enjoyed working on different things. And that's why I just fell in love with it.
It's interesting you said, just saw a question now pop it, but even yesterday we received a couple about training because you're so famous and your book is very clear about that, about how much you enjoy the grind that leads to success. What lessons would you give to young players and how to handle the anxiety during a game after making a mistake on the pitch? You talked a lot about mentality. There are a couple of questions about training. This one is really interesting. Anxiety after well, you just mentioned 2011, right? Penalty kick shit out. You missed it. It's probably in your head for 4 years, well, another year till the Olympics. How do you get over that?
It's tough. You know, I think for a soccer player, you have to be able to think no further than 2 seconds and backwards no further than 2 seconds. It's a seconds game. You know, it's a milliseconds game because as a forward now, you know, I may get three or four chances on goal, and let's just say the first two I miss.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm continuing for the rest of the game dwelling on those missed opportunities, the three more that come my way, I'm most likely going to miss them
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't gotten over the last two. So for a soccer player, you know, you have to be quick to just forget things. You know, you miss, it's okay, just move on to the next one. And I think that I've done a much better job throughout my career of not dwelling on mistakes, because everybody's going to make mistakes. Messi makes mistakes, but Messi takes risks, and he tries things, and eventually those things work out in the end. So as a forward, you're going to get loads of chances, and you just have to be okay with missing a couple of chances. But if you get that one chance, late in the game, and you've already put those other opportunities away and threw them in the trash, then most likely your mind's going to be on making sure you get that in the back of the net. So it's very, very important to do that during a game. But for instance, the 2011 World Cup final, where I did miss the PK, it's a learning opportunity. You have to look at every roadblock, every setback, every failure, if you want to call that, as an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to learn. So I made a note that, from that point on, I would be a good PK taker. And I've shown that. And I've stepped up in big moments, and I've done that. And yeah, you're going to miss a couple here and there. But, my teammates know that I can step up there, and they have the confidence in me to be able to hit it in the back of the net. But that takes practice, and that takes work. But having that mindset is key.
A lot of work, and you're, as I said, famous for that. For your camps, I have a lot of questions there, whether you're going to keep on with your training camps after you retire. And there's Nicole here on Facebook. My 11-year-old son wants to know, can you recommend a shooting drill that will improve her directional accuracy?
Yeah, to answer the questions, I want to keep continuing to do my clinics, all over the country, as much as I can. But for certain drills, it's hard. It's hard to kind of just spit off a couple of different drills. But what I have found key is just the practicing on my own. When I was little, I used to go to the field and we used to shoot, and it was that repetition that made me better. But it is also important to make sure you're doing the right technique as well. But if you can find a wall and knock the ball up against the wall, in the air, on the ground, you can do laces even to kind of work on that shooting technique, and just go with it rep after rep after rep. You can do inside of the foot benders. And so usually I do that. But as far as, one particular drill, it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what I would tell you to do. But I think finding a wall and just making sure you're getting that repetition down is good, or finding a goal and working on that at that point.
Very nice. But this is great advice. Just practicing alone and realizing that you don't need anyone else but yourself and your mentality that you mentioned. It is great advice. I'm sure it's what Nicole was looking for, kind of stuff she was looking for. Got a couple of questions about Olympics. You had mentioned a while ago that maybe, well, we were, of course, to play the Olympics this year in a couple of months' time. This has been pushed back in a year. How does this affect your plans of play or not play in the Olympics if you make it to the squad, and call it a career? Did it become a landmark point that would make sense? What have you been thinking about?
Yeah, I think obviously with what's going on, it's crazy because so many things have been canceled, so many things have been postponed. An Olympics is every 4 years. To prepare for an Olympics, as far as the athletes, the IOC, Tokyo, everybody involved, like I can't imagine prepping for that, the amount of years it takes, and then also postponing it, and now prepping and dealing with all the aftermath of pushing it another year. So, it's a lot that's gone on with it. I definitely think it is the right thing to do, for sure, no doubt. And, I'm someone who always wants to try to find the silver lining in anything that's happening. And while people are going to say, well, it's a year from now, Carli's is going to be a year older, everybody wants to now throw the age card out. But it's funny to me because I haven't slowed down since. I've gotten more and more fit the older I've gotten, and the people that really know the game of football see it and see how much I run, and I'm not going backwards, and I'm not going to go backwards in this next year. So when this postponement happened, I realized that this was another opportunity for me to get better. I have a year to prepare. I have a year to get more fit, stronger, to work on my game, become even better, become even more deadlier in front of the goal, become a better forward, better number 9. And I'm excited. You know, while I wanted to compete this summer, it's always exciting to compete. I feel that retiring after this year would have been cut a little short for me. Yeah. So to now push it another year, I'm going to do everything in my power to make the squad and be as sharp as can be. And I would love to, you know, win a gold medal with my teammates and most likely sign off from there. But we'll see.
A third, can you imagine, would be ridiculous. Quite a few interesting ones. There's a funny one here. Alex Boo just sent it. My favorite chant in the stadium is the Carli Lloyd chant. What are we talking about?
Oh, really? I don't know what chant that is.
You don't either. Alex, if you can clarify, please. People asking you not to retire ever at all. Everyone talking about your book. People seem to love your book as well. An interesting question. I should have asked that myself when you mentioned. Cooking a lot. What's Carli Lloyd the cook?
I've had so much time on my hands. I've actually been enjoying. I actually enjoy cooking. I enjoy eating healthy. My husband and we actually work really well together. You know, he helps me out in the kitchen when needed with cooking, and yeah, it's a fun little thing that we can kind of do together and try different recipes. I've been doing some things in my slow cooker lately. We've got a Traeger grill that we smoke some things on as well. So just kind of been bouncing around and doing different recipes. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, quite the setup then.
Yeah, not too bad. We got some construction going on in our backyard, so we've just moved the grill outside of our garage. So we're making it work.
Oh wow, cool. That sounds interesting. Good way to quarantine oneself.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, at the same time, we have Yaya Touré, who, like you, play for Manchester City, play for a little longer. We're trying to have you asking stuff to one another. If you would leave like a question that you would have for Yaya Touré, what would that be? What are you curious about knowing? I promise I'll ask you tomorrow.
Good question, man. I've watched him play a number of years. Maybe ask him, you know, what is the biggest challenge off the field as a male footballer? Good. I know it's quite interesting to see kind of, you know, what the biggest challenge is for them. I mean, obviously the playing on the field is tough, but interested in that.
I'll ask him, I promise. And everyone who's watching us right now, tomorrow will be FIFA World Cup Instagram account, not the Women's World Cup, of course. Same time, 7 o'clock Central European time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, is that right? Yeah, that's when we started. Yeah. And then you do the math for all the rest. Carli, thank you very, very much. This was awesome. Got so many people saying so many things. I would love to. Hold up. Last one. The chant. Sweet Carli Lloyd and the tune of Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond.
Oh, okay.
Sweet
like
Carli Lloyd. Da, da, da. Nice. You didn't know that?
I don't know. I wonder if that was a Man City thing, because we don't really have chants here.
It's quite a British thing. It's good to keep it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. Hey,
well, cool. Well, thanks so much.
Very much. No, thank you.
Thanks to all the fans tuning in. Until next time.
Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Everyone who's watching it, stay safe yourselves as well. Carli, thanks. I'll be seeing you on the football pitch pretty soon, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Stay healthy.
Take care.
See ya.